Speedrunning video games is a serious form of competition, and like most forms of competition, speedrunning has rules. It's often very obvious on what is allowed in a speedrun and what isn't, but sometimes there's a bit of a gray area. In the pursuit of beating games as fast as possible, there are bound to be some startling discoveries made. Throughout the years, there have been some bizarre strategies in speedrunning that potentially put the integrity of competition at risk, such as version-exclusive tricks, cartridge tilting, special adapters, and whatever the hell this is. As a result, there's controversy, and this may lead to the strat getting banned. Today, I will be looking at 3 unique case studies on some controversial strats in Mario speedruns, their backstory, and why they ended up getting banned. But before we begin, I know y'all out there are looking for a new game to sink your teeth into. Preferably something that is easy to pick up and play whenever you want. Perhaps you'd like an RPG that is free to play on your mobile device or your PC. One that features over 600 champions with their own unique abilities in an ever-expansive world. You know it, you love it, it's Raid Shadow Legends, baby, the sponsor of today's video. I implore you to use my links down below to download Raid yourself on your mobile phone or PC. And you don't want to miss out on joining a clan with your friends and tackling the new exciting updates and epic boss battles. This month, Raid just brought the latest addition to its huge boss roster, and it's the biggest, baddest, and scariest yet. The Hydra. This thing is the ultimate beast, a superpowered clan boss with multiple heads. Each one is a boss battle on its own, with each head having its own unique abilities. The Hydra fight is seriously difficult, but the reward for defeating it is some of the best artifacts in the game, so it's absolutely worth it. What I really enjoyed about Raid so far is that when you start out, you have to choose between 4 rare champions to start off your journey. The champions belong to a different faction and have their own strengths and weaknesses, but I personally chose Kale, a dark elf who specializes in poison-based attacks such as Dark Bolt, Acid Rain, and Disintegrate. If that isn't enough for you, Raid's also giving away a super limited edition champion to every player in the game, the esports legend himself, Simple. All you have to do is log in for 7 days between now and January 28th, and he's yours. If you miss that date, you miss out forever. This is the best time to get started in Raid, and if you use my link in the description or scan my QR code, you'll get some free resources and a free mystery champion straight away to kickstart your game. I'm not telling you who it is though, but trust me, they're awesome. All this treasure will be waiting for you in here, but it's only available for the next 30 days for new players only. And it's that easy. Just click the link in the description below or scan my QR code, and I'll see you in game. Our first case today originated within Super Mario Galaxy 2. On July 13th, 2013, former Super Mario Bros. World Record holder Darbian would post a discovery he made on the Speed Demos archive forum for Mario Galaxy 2. In both Galaxy 1 and 2, a save prompt will pop up after collecting a power star after returning to the game's hub world. In Galaxy 1, you have the option to skip saving, which saves time in a speedrun, but in Galaxy 2, the game will always save, whether you like it or not. These save prompts, which are about a couple seconds long each, seem to be impossible to skip. However, Darbian had discovered a way to completely bypass these. To do this, you would either erase your Mario Galaxy 2 save data and completely fill up the Wii's system memory, or copy your Galaxy 2 save data until there was no room left. The Wii will then recognize that there's no available storage left and will redirect you to data management until you free up some system memory. Darbian, however, learned that by holding down the plus and minus buttons down when turning on the Wii remote, you activate maintenance mode, something you probably didn't know the Wii could do until 5 seconds ago. This was likely used to repair your Wii if you ever sent it back to Nintendo for repair, but regardless, there are a lot of weird side effects, like restricting access to the Wii's message board, removing animations for various channels, but more importantly, it allows you to boot up games when your Wii's storage is full. This prevented any save prompt to even appear, saving a few seconds each star you collect. Since you collect several of these stars in a speedrun, You could save well over a minute in any percent for Galaxy 1 and 2, and even more time for the longer categories. However, doing this would prevent Galaxy 2 runners from being able to use the bank toad to their advantage, which allows for star bits to be deposited to different save files and withdrawn from any other save file on the console. This eliminated any star bit farming in the run, so that stars collected from smaller hungry Luma galaxies can be collected faster. Memory overload, however, prevents the bank toad from being useful, but it was unknown whether the trade-off was worth it, as no one bothered to time whether skipping the save dialogues was faster than using the bank toad. Shortly after, the idea was almost entirely forgotten about for nearly 7 years. It wasn't until May 2020 when memory overload would resurface, when a Galaxy 2 speedrunner, Shadow64, was browsing the old SDA forum and presented their findings to the community. Immediately, Darbian's proof of concept was tested and discussed, and was found to even work in Mario 3D World as well. This skipped the mandatory autosave after beating a level, and was found to save over 2 minutes in the any percent category. It even worked for longer categories such as 380 star and 100%, which allow you to access your file after beating the main game until the software is closed, after which the temporary save data is deleted. As for the Mario Galaxy games, it was not useful in Galaxy 2 since the bank toad saved more time in all categories. As for Galaxy 1, it seemed very useful, but it had a major drawback. You see, 2 out of the 5 main categories were any percent Luigi and 120 star Luigi, both of which began from a fresh Luigi save file, which is created by collecting 120 stars as Mario. This was a problem, since if you ever wanted to use memory overload and run these categories, you would need to spend about 6 hours doing a 120 star Mario run before you could even start a Luigi run, since your saves would be deleted upon exiting the game. These were very concerning factors, which would heavily impact the activity of these games. So after a few days of discussion, the following was ruled on May 10th. 3D World would allow memory overload, and in the coming months, the any percent world record, which King Boo 97 achieved over 3 years prior, would finally be beaten by Yandema 211 using memory overload. The Mario Galaxy community, however, decided to ban memory overload, as quite frankly, no one wanted to waste 6 hours of their life every time they wanted to do a Luigi speedrun, to ironically shave a couple of minutes off of those runs. Sometimes, the issue isn't when no one wants to perform a certain trick, but rather when a lot of them can't, as was the case if you downloaded a patch for Super Mario Odyssey. When Mario Odyssey came out in late 2017, it was probably the biggest debut to a speed game ever. From the moment the game came out, the SMO community wasted no time discovering various tricks and strategies, and hundreds, if not thousands of speedrunners, both speedrun newbies and seasoned veterans alike, flocked to speedrun the hot new Mario game. One of the first notable discoveries was skipping the first moon in Cascade Kingdom, where by clearing an invisible wall, you can bypass the first intended moon in the rocks and some dialogue to reach the Madame Brood boss fight right away. Afterwards, you could grab 2 quick moons in order to power the Odyssey, saving about 25 seconds in the process. But only on version 1.0.0. On the same day of the game's release, the version 1.0.1 update would release, which effectively patched First Moon Skip by making the Madame Brood boss fight not activate until the first moon was collected. If you digitally downloaded the game after the update or left automatic updates on, you couldn't perform this trick at all. Version-exclusive tricks are nothing new in speedrunning, but as the Mario Odyssey speedrunning scene was booming in popularity overnight, it only made sense to keep the run as accessible to newcomers as much as possible. I certainly wasn't willing to sacrifice my Breath of the Wild save file just for this speedrun. After over a month of debate and discussion, First Moon Skip was formally banned on December 20th, 2017. While the speedrun would be faster with First Moon Skip, accessibility came first. This proved to be effective for a few months, as no other major tricks or glitches for main leaderboard categories were patched out. That is, until Luigi came to town. On February 21st, 2018, version 1.2.0, the Luigi's Balloon World update was released, which included the titular Luigi's Balloon World game mode as well as new costumes, but more importantly, patches. Many of the tricks used in the Any % run were either patched out or made significantly more difficult. As a result, the first moon skip discussion sprung up once more, this time resulting in it getting unbanned, as to prevent any other patch skips from being arbitrarily banned, and because obtaining a 1.0.0 cartridge was now more accessible. Interestingly enough, using the Luigi's Balloon World minigame to grind coins in certain speedruns such as All Moons or 100% were banned, as grinding coins using that method relied on luck and popularity rather than skill. But in the grand scheme of things, First Moon Skip and other version 1.0.0 exclusive tricks weren't all that big of a deal, as accessibility to that version became more irrelevant with the release of version 1.3.0, which would become the fastest version for most categories. What is more relevant, however, is verifying a runner's legitimacy via adequate video proof. With that in mind, you can imagine how the final ban trick I'm going to talk about today had the potential to be a speedrun verifier's nightmare. This is Undock abuse. In Mario Odyssey's post-game, when you travel between kingdoms via the Odyssey, this loading screen will display. This fact alone isn't particularly interesting, but what is notable is that when playing in handheld mode, the loading transition is on average 2 seconds faster than when the Switch is docked. This was discovered in the spring of 2020, when it was previously thought that loads were generally slower on an undocked Switch. This allowed for some potential time save in certain categories, and was a pretty clever trick using one of the Switch's main selling points. However, there were some major downsides when verifying the legitimacy of these runs. Undock abuse was concerning because the Switch's video feed would cut off from the game capture when undocked. One speedrunner, Ganon, fought particularly hard to have this trick allowed. On May 8, 2020, they would perform a Koopa freerunning RTA speedrun, where the main objective was to complete the Koopa freerunning race in every kingdom as fast as possible. This run featured 6 instances where Mario would travel between kingdoms using the Odyssey, and thus, Undock abuse was used 6 times. When streaming their attempts live on Twitch, a webcam was also positioned in the stream layout to clearly display the active monitor, the dock, and the Switch screen whenever it was undocked. By the end of the run, the time save was very noticeable, as Ganon would improve their personal best by 14 seconds, and also beat the world record by 12 seconds, with a final time of 18:30. Ganon performed this run before a final decision was made, and tried their hardest to provide the best proof possible. Despite their best efforts, problems such as requiring multiple cameras and video capture devices, varying monitor refresh times, and the potential for splices couldn't be ignored. Ultimately, Undock abuse would be banned, and Ganon's 1830 would be disqualified from the leaderboard. Since then, they have improved their time to an 1820, sitting in second place without the use of Undock abuse. Well, I hope you found these stories quite interesting. I personally love hearing about weird and bizarre strategies in speedrunning, so if there's a particularly weird or interesting trick you would like to hear about, banned or legal, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below or on my Twitter @LunaticJTV. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember to shoot for the moon.